Good evening. Shout out to Rambling Man, wherever you are. I had so many times I wanted to do like an upload or something while I've been away. And there was loads of different things I wanted to do on, and none of it really mattered enough to bother on my holiday. But today I realised that there's a little bit of a balance that needs redressing. Just a bit of information, that's it, just information to close the circuit so people can make their own minds up with all the information. And also it's been a thing, so there's a whole story attached to it, so I thought, well, I could at least tell the story to the best of my ability and get it all out, and then that's that, isn't it? And I have spoken about it before, I think on Red Bulls and possibly with Vic as well. I'm not 100%, but I can talk about it as much as I can. But obviously this is going to be a one take malarkey and all the rest of it, because I've got no editing or anything, as much as I'm dying to do some. And so, right, where do I start? So, what's his fucking Cobra Commander? Right. So this guy, I've blocked his other 2 accounts or more, whatever the accounts are. So there's just so many points to bring up with it, and it's like, I think I've addressed some of it but never the whole thing, because it's just such a fucking massive thing, because it harks back to the evil stuff and all the stuff that kicked off as a result. And then there's all the pay stuff as well, because the pay stuff's quite connected to it, so I'll definitely go into that a little bit, but I'll probably leave all my specific stuff with paste, because it's not really that. All I need to say is that I've said this before, he was right about this guy, which I was open to the possibility of it, but I still maintain that his methodology and what it showed me about him, well, it left a lot to be desired for me. And the way it was handled afterwards by him wasn't great. But then I don't really blame him, because like Captain N and lots of other people in this situation, it was just a useful situation that got utilised, and it's not really that Pace had any real power behind his elbow, or anyone had any real power behind their elbow apart from evil, you know, and he had his own reasons for pushing certain things. And there was a couple of others as well, but I can't even be arsed to drag that one out. But whoever knows. We all know that mess. If people want a little bit of clarification, that's absolutely fine. I can definitely unpick that if you want, if people are actually interested. But I don't think anyone is at this point anyway. So where did I get to? So there was Pace, right? So I had my animosity to him because of how he reacted and how he was in that Discord as well. Again, I can go into that at a later detail, but this one's not about him, but I had my reasons, I'll say. But yes, he was right about that guy, and he was right to warn everybody about him. And I'm thinking that maybe I can do a better job of that than what Pace did, because I haven't really got that much of a vested interest in it. It's not like I actually want to destroy this guy. It's not like I actually want him to really suffer or anything, but I don't want him to gain either, and I don't want him to come in and just fucking milk our community like he is doing and like he has been doing, because it's not like he's a newcomer who's come in and he's just not getting a chance and everyone's just closing ranks on him, and he's had such a hard time in his old community, and any fucking number of sob stories that he will tell you, and he will. Oh my god, will he? My god, that's another one for later. I mean, some of the stuff that this guy came out with, I can really go into that, you know, at a bit of a later date, if this guy does not fucking calm down with his bullshit. Otherwise his fucking full loser mentality will be wrought wild for the whole fucking world to see, mate, because you are pissing me off. With well, it's nothing major, I'll just tell it how it was and what happened and what it makes that person like, you know, with some of the fucking attitudes, some of the behaviours, you know. It was very, very interesting. And what I will say as well is that I don't regret, or I don't have any animosity to him for that, but he did show me what he was like, and I'm gonna comment on that, because I was glad that it happened, in the sense that it moved us all on, you know. It freed me freed me up. I got to see those guys for what they were as well, big time. But that's not any doing of fucking Captain N, Don Kingsley, whoever you want to call him. It's not it wasn't really anything to do with him. That was all brewing, and he just utilised it and was an opportunist. But he has continued to be this opportunist. And if he'd have come in and done anything other than just ride every single other person here, if he had any of his own stuff. Now, I think he did put a bit of stuff out, and I was like, and I mean, his Dr. Zayas stuff was good, and that was his own stuff, and I loved that. And I thought he was an artist, I really did, right? But actually, all I've seen has been these weird facsimiles. I mean, way, way worse than any of the weird. It's like another angle of this narc stuff, and that's why I find it interesting. But like, from the Sam Vaknin stuff, it looked like, and I'll put the video description, the video in the description for here, for the one that I think relates to this guy, and it's quite interesting, quite telling, and it does stand with a lot of stuff that he did. But it is a very different way of doing things, but there are so many similarities with the narcissism in that whole creatively bankrupt thing, completely. It's mad, it's like a wasteland. You're like, this guy has actually got the capability, he can edit, you know, he does all this stuff, but he just literally, I think he just relies on things coming past him. And it's not even like we've had this debate recently about Lewis, and to me, to some extent, uploading other people's stuff, and the inspiration and the collaboration, standing on the shoulders of giants and all the rest of it. There's a big difference between that and being inspired by it, or even what, like, archiving it or whatever, and then what this guy's doing, because it's all unsaid. And even when I called him out on it the first time when I saw it, right at the beginning, he denied it all the way along, and he will deny it to the hilt. But this guy, mate, every single fucking thing he does is related to someone in this community, and it's fucking creepy as fuck. It's like laces out, way more than I ever accused Tommy of. Tommy's thing's just with fucking Sam Vaknin. This guy's obsessed with every single one of us. It's creepy as fuck, mate. Like, Paste was fucking right about that. I have not seen one as creepy in this sense. Well, maybe Nelda, obviously, but man alive, right? So you've got, like, so when he first came in, right, the first thing he fucking did was like, and everyone gave him a chance, and this is what I will emphasize to anyone coming in and listening to this, everyone has given this guy a chance, really, apart from Paste, right? But everybody did, right? Obviously there were outside influences which he courted to make it worse. That would lead me to believe that he wanted to get into here in the first place by being associated with me, because it'd be an easy way in, and he just knows how to be a creep, so he just went for it. I was like, hey, look, he's a new person, he's a bit interesting, hello, you know, and that was all it needed, that was all it took. And so this fella, the first thing he did, pretty much from what I saw, was he started streaming Chippendale when Evil was streaming, and he would stream consistently. This is when everything was good, when Evil was supposedly quote unquote good, when Evil was nice to him. Evil was really nice to him, and as much as Evil has been a piece of shit recently, and he really has, I will be honest about how people behaved in this situation, for whatever reasons they were. Now, Evil might have had his own reasons to be nice, and he probably did, do you know what I mean? He could probably see the storm coming worse than I could or anything, so who knows, he was probably could have been even utilising it. I don't know. All I know is he could have just been being a nice guy. I don't know, but all I know is he was really nice to the guy. This guy was, like I say, Chippendale. Who else does Chippendale apart from Evil? You know, I mean, he was obsessively doing DuckTales. He was trying to get a rise out of Evil big time. By the time he was doing DuckTales, he was trying to get a rise out of Evil, and I could tell Evil knew. I knew. Everybody fucking knew. Then he moved on from that to fucking Zelda, and it was always at the same time that Evil was doing it. And then there'd be like, obviously there was the Battletoads at the same time as him, there was Castlevania at the same time as him. It was literally multiple streams a day as well. And at that time, because everyone was doing shit before you fucking Herbie dickheads decided to pull everything apart, because, as I said to Hooligan about Tommy, my failure is central to your self-esteem for some reason that you have not disclosed. So there's that. So that's what I mean about it being so complicated. So I can't even get into just the Captain N stuff because it's all complicated and mixed up with all that shit. That's why I thought I'd fucking say something about it. So now, right, so this guy's been, right, so anyway, after a bit, I fucking gracefully said, all right, mate, let's be mates, you know what I mean? Let's just, I think friends is good. I think friends is good, like, that's it, right? And then a bit later on, I did bring something up with him just as a bit of positive feedback because although I could tell he was a creep at this point, I didn't know to what extent, and I did believe him to some extent that it had all been a coincidence up until now, all these games being the same as Evil's and it being quite obsessively matched up to Evil. And then when they started with their fake race war, when I would have needed my support right at the end, but before he fucked off, he started with trying to spin off this race war to try and build stuff on his channel on that. Anyway, I didn't even bring that up. But then, what did I raise with him? Oh God, yeah. He came over to Red Bulls, I think it was, and was, oh mate, and I mean that's another story as well, like the way he went off about that. Oh my God. Yes, there's that. And then, but he came over to Red Bulls. This is just a friend of mine. This is, you know, someone I'm talking about. This Captain N, supposedly we're mates. Everything's fine. We're just collaborating. It's been like that for a bit. And he then comes in and he's just making this massive song and dance. Bearing in mind, Evil and Tommy had, I don't know if Tommy had turned at that point, but they were all proper laying into me at that point, and the Ricardo stuff had just started. I was just a bit like trying to calibrate with the new scenario and what the fuck was going on. And although it was a bit shocking and shaky, it was actually more real than anything I'd been in for the last few months. So it felt, I wasn't like at shock and reeling, but I was also recalibrating securely and steadily, but you know, not something that you really want to be fucking, if you've got a mate who's just had something, a bit of a shock, you know, slightly, and then just come in and just be like, and I'm like dealing with it in my own way. At that point I wasn't pissed off with Evil. I could see what was happening and I could see that Ricardo was trying his best, and I wanted to appeal to Evil to be like, don't go for it, mate. I know it seems easy, I know it seems tempting, but don't do it, mate. Like, there's just no need. Like, we could just all run parallel to each other. All this shit about me nagging him and all that stuff, we hadn't even been in fucking contact properly for ages. It's all bullshit. I mean, you can look at all the rest of his shit, compare his other truths to that truth, you know what I mean? Fucking hell, I don't need to say anything. So anyway, he comes into there going, oh, Tommy and Evil, I thought they were my friends. How could they betray me? Honestly. And no one really responded, and he kept on going and kept on going. And I didn't say anything at the time, and I just gave him a DM, and I was just like, that's a bit much. Like, that's a bit weird. And I just said to him, honestly, I was like, I know that we've discussed this before, and that you've supposedly reassured me about this many times. I was like, but oh, my phone's going on low battery now, so I might have to cut this short. But I said that just gave me a real red flag. I said I just got this reaction of, oh shit, here comes someone up in my shit right now. And I brought that up with him, and he never ever replied to me. He blocked me. The next thing I know, it's like, I mean, bearing in mind I've been fine with him, you know, and he'd been nothing but sticking his fucking, doing the pop-up pirate, but in a completely different way to Ricardo, and not in the privet. But still the same pop-up pirate bullshit, still trying it on. But this guy doesn't know us. This guy is coming from outside, and that's my thing. It's all well and good having trolling and toing and froing and the fucking parody accounts and all the rest of it. And in my opinion, this is what I want to put to everybody. Like, what do you think about that? Is this me being just like a bit paranoid, my paranoid delusions or whatever? Or is it because I'm butthurt? Or is it that I do feel that this is a bit icky? This is just a little bit on the icky side for me, even for here. Like, it's just a bit changing route, changing table. It's like, he needs to go off with Darius. This is 15 years shit, this. And it's getting into that icky realm. And there's only a few icky type people around, but he's the ickiest, I would say. And I just wanted to raise that awareness and let everybody know that that's what they're dealing with. Not that anyone gives a shit, but just give that bit of story. And I just wanted to see what other people thought about that. Like, is it what's the dealio, like, when it comes to trolling? Like, if you know someone has come in from somewhere else, literally to follow someone who's thrown them out of an older community for being a creep. So they've already been ostracized by one community. They followed then this other person and called them a psycho and an obsessive. And to be honest, he was a little bit. So you've got two people who are psycho obsessives, a little bit, which isn't that unusual for here. And then you've got this guy following him to there, getting in all his shit, getting in with me, getting in with Evil, getting in with everybody. I mean, Paste gave as good as he get. Like, Pace gets in with people the same. There's a bit of ickiness going on there, but I was like kicking off at that, when actually there was a load more ickiness going on. But he was singing me the fucking sob story like you wouldn't believe. And I mean, I've never heard anything like it. So there's that. No excuse or whatever. But that's my thing. It's like, it was just icky all round. And so for me, I'm just a bit like, I'm all for, you know, me, fucking, I agree with Slotham and stuff. The more alts, the better. Let people do what they fucking want. Everyone can make their own mind up about stuff. And that's all fine, and I suppose it works for this as well. But I just wondered what people thought, because we've all got experience in that, and we've all probably done our own. I don't know if I ever did do a parody count of anyone else. I think I would like to at some point, but I haven't yet. I haven't found the right one. One day. I'm not against it, and I do like them when they turn up. So there's that, and it's like fresh blood, and people coming in, and people who might have been watching for a while, and then they might want to get involved. You know, it's like nice to be accessible, and it's nice when new people come in. But the thing is, that guy did come in, and it was accessible, and people were nice to him, and people did include him and encourage him massively so. And look at what he's doing with it. So like, all his accounts are like based on other people. Like, his latest one before this one was Red Skull. And he started his stream at the same time as Red Bull was starting his streams at that time, and he labelled it and titled it something like what Red Bull would do. And that's the icky stuff, is that all these little touches that he puts on everything to make it more like the person is just the creepiest fucking shit. It's so like the Talented Mr. Ripley, it's untrue. It's like they want to stand in the person. They want to, oh man, it's so mad. And I've dealt with many flavours of this over the course of it, and I feel like I was warned by many people, many people, not just Paste, by lots of different people, and I did heed those warnings, don't worry. I did actually listen to it, and I took it all on. But it was part of the adventure, it was part of the journey. And I mean, at the end of the day, I had nothing to lose, and I still don't have anything to lose at all. But at the end of the day, I just felt like I seen him doing his shit again. He's gone away again. So he went away soon, and this is how weak he is. It's like, if he is actually trolling and he is actually doing shit, then that's my point. It's like, so when I actually collar him, so he goes on as Red fucking Skull, and he starts playing his hip hop music, and he starts doing this, and I was just like, this is fucking ridiculous. I went on, and I was just like, if this is who and what I think it is, then you fucking had it, mate, right? Seeing what he'd do. Next thing, he shuts the whole thing down, privates it, and then renames his fucking channel, right? So there's trolling, and then there's just weak pussy bastard, creepy ass bastard shit. So then the next thing he does is waited, and I've been a bit quiet for a bit, haven't I? I don't know if that's anything to do with it, but maybe I should take it in as a factor, possibly. Who knows? But I'm on holiday, aren't I? And you see that a few fucking giddy kippers got involved when I went on holiday. They've backed off a bit, which is another reason why I'm going to do this upload, because, I mean, fucking hell, they'll probably make some shit out of, I mean, they'll feed them fucking hungry mouths over there, them waifs and strays in the fucking privet, fucking hell, ravenous little fucking roaches. I'm sure they'll make a meal of it, but at the end of the day, they hadn't had anything for a while, have they? So I thought, fuck it. And they've gone a bit quiet for a bit. So, well, supposedly. Who knows? I'm sure people will tell me that they've been slagging me off to the high hill everywhere, and I wouldn't know about it. But who cares, right? This was just like, well, fuck it, I'll just do it about this, because this is something that's happening. The guy is sneaking around the edges, and he is creeping around the edges. He's trying to get a foothold in our community based upon literally creeping into the shadow of everyone, and not just that, but making their channel, not just making like a joke channel and taking the piss, and like putting a picture of the person up on the thing and saying, oh, I'm so and so and I'm gay, or whatever it happens to be. Do you know what I mean? None of that. It's it's like trying to be that person. It's just so creepy. So then the next one, what's the next one? Cobra Commander. So I will mention that when he was playing the game on the Red Skull account, he was playing a gangster type, 1940s gangster type thing, like Vic had said he wanted to do. So there's that. And now he's doing Cobra Commander. So I just wanted to point that one out and see what other people think about that and what their standards are regarding incoming people, incoming trolling styles, and I suppose what that I don't know what impact it has or doesn't have on the community, or why it even matters. I just think that when you've got someone so insidious who's literally doing, I can see this, I've seen him do it, this like little net, this weaving, this little web and this net of weirdness, and he's gone around Red Bull, and he's gone around me, he's gone around Evil, he's gone around Paste, he's gone around he's going around Albert at the moment, you know, and it's like, and now he's trying to go around Vic because Vic's not here, and it's just it's not even a vulture, because we know vultures. This is something else. This is like, I don't even know what it is, like a worm, like some sort of like the Dune, like the worms out of fucking Tremors or something. I don't even fucking know, mate. Anyway, hope you're doing all right. I'm enjoying my holiday. I'll see you later.